Alright, welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Saturday, January 6th. Alright, welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Saturday, January 6th. Alright, welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Saturday. Bear with me, folks. I am having some technical difficulties. There we go. Alright, so anyway, now that we got that situated, how's everybody doing? It's January 6th, 2018. I want to start real quick with, again, if you haven't already checked it out, please check out the forum over at Grand Solar Minimum. Actually, it's gsm.thegrandsolarminimum.com, which is where you can find the forum. Register, become a member. Actually, it's not really a member. You just have an account there. You sign in to post, private message, and we also have a chat room as well, which is something I haven't really gone over much. For those of you who want to get together and kind of collaborate and talk about the weather and all that good stuff. There's your login, all that good crap, and that's great. Okay, so on to the first story I wanted to cover tonight. This is old, actually. This came out January 1st, but I'm surprised nobody talked about this at all. And what it is, this is Dr. Roy Spencer's website here, drroyspencer.com. As of 7 a.m. Eastern Time of January 1st, in the lower 48, our average temperature was 11 degrees for the nation. So keep that in mind. The entire United States average temperature for January 1st of 2018 is 11 degrees Fahrenheit. So I just found that interesting. RoySpencer.com. Sorry, Roy Williams. I'm thinking of basketball coaches. He's got a few articles up here. They were talking about first annual list, banish climate change theories, and he puts the words that they're trying to banish. Naming of winter storms. This is his wish list. Hey, Weather Channel, stop it. Please just stop it, so he says. And that brings me to another thing. Earlier today, we had the snowstorms with the East Coast, and you kept hearing about bombogenesis, and obviously a lot of people were getting tired of hearing that term. Unfortunately, there's people out there that really don't understand what that was, what we went through. And I'm going to read here off of Watchers. Rare explosive cyclone genesis of East Coast cyclone returned in an interval of 20 to 30 years. Although not unprecedented, the explosive deepening mid-latitude cyclone over this part of the Western Atlantic during winter, as witnessed on Thursday, January 4th, is rare. Detailed records over the past 45 to 50 years suggest a return of this return interval for this event in this area may occur every 25 to 30 years. The storm will pull away from New England by the end of Friday, which it has already, and move into Canada. Very cold temperatures and wind chills to follow for much of the eastern third of the U.S., which that has already happened. Today is actually the coldest day of this year, which is very young anyway. But here is the satellite picture of the storm itself. Monster storm. And the reason why I wanted to talk, I know we've talked a lot about the bomb. People are probably sick of hearing bombogenesis, bomb cyclone. And I was interested because earlier today I was on Facebook and just kind of looking around, see what's going on. Excuse me. And a friend of mine from back home commented about, or actually posted a video about this guy who's saying, bombogenesis, stop flipping out. It's called a blizzard. It's a snowstorm. It happens all the time. People stop flipping out, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was in New York City, which that's fine. In New York City, they got like 6 inches of snow at the time he made the video. Not that big of a deal, but this thing really ramped up really bad as it got closer to New England. And, you know, I tried to explain to my friend who posted this video because in my eyes, she kind of looks stupid. And I said, hey, just letting you know, bombogenesis, this is what it means. I told her that the storm dropped 51 millibars instead of the 24 to get that name, so it almost doubled what it was supposed to do in a 24-hour period. Plus the intensity of the winds, the coastal flooding that we had. I said, this is just, these new terms are basically results of new research. And her response to me was, well, it sounds dumb. It sounds like stuff that meteorologists make up just to make themselves sound fancy. LOL, it's effing dumb. And I was just kind of shocked, taken back that maybe I've got the wrong friends. I don't know. Or maybe the majority of the people out there don't want to learn about science. They don't want to learn about why these storms happen or what is unprecedented and what's not unprecedented. This storm on the East Coast, we've seen this before last year. This isn't the first year we've heard of bombogenesis. We've had it before. We'll probably have it again several times. So, especially in the next 25 to 30 years. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick because I still think people thought that, after I talked about the Fox News story, there is a lot, and mainstream's doing a good job of this, but they're trying to make people think that, this is just a winter storm. This is normal, folks. Why is the media making a big deal about it? They were accusing the media of, it was a slow news day. I can think of a ton of things they could talk about right now besides the weather. But the weather is dominating the headlines right now. So, and it's only going to continue to do that. This is only the beginning, the tip of the iceberg, folks. The grand solar minimum hasn't even begun yet. And we're already seeing the effects. Which brings me to my next article real quick. And this is also old. This was from December 31st. But I didn't see a lot of people talk about this either. I just read about it online. And according to the Laboratory for X-ray Solar Astronomy, an institute in Russia, the solar activity cycle, by all indications, has practically reached its minimum 1.5 years ahead of expected time. Given the previous solar maximum in 2012 was one of the weakest in the century, it is possible that we are now waiting for earlier and substantially more severe minimum of the cycle, which to me is another way of wording we're getting ready to have the big daddy. I don't know why they just don't put out grand solar minimum. I really don't. There were no magnetic storms and field disturbances observed in the last 2 months related to solar activity. They're talking about November and December. The space weather in the vicinity of our planet is increasingly losing its connection with the sun, which by all indications practically fell to the bottom of the next minimum of the 11-year solar cycle, a year and a half earlier than expected. Now, at the 5.7 averagely monthly number of sunspots, one of the main indicators of the level of solar activity, reached minimum value of the last 8 years of observations in November 2017. The last time the lower value was recorded in the last decade was August of 2009. This will go on to talk about the decrease in sunspots coming up. The average number of sunspots in September was 43. It dropped to 13 in October and 5 to November. That was an indicator of, and I thought September was actually very active considering we were heading into a minimum. We had solar flares, we had X-class flares, we had a G4 storm. And I remember that night because we were getting a lot of rain that night too, and the lightning was phenomenal. So up here in western New York, I remember September very well. We had strange weather. We had flooding up here that we don't normally receive. And the lightning on the night we had the big geomagnetic storm was outstanding. So, but an interesting article that, a lot of people need to really kind of put some focus into here is how fast this minimum is right now and how fast it's declining. Looking at this typical graph here, you guys have seen it a million times. You look at the modern minimum from 1650 to about 1700, you're probably talking about 25 sunspots average. That's pretty low. And like we've said before in the past, people like John Casey and other scientists believe that we could actually see 0 sunspots throughout solar cycle 25 and 26. That's consistently. Now that's an amazing prediction. If that was the case, I would expect some very, very, very cold weather to come with that as well. Another thing that I saw earlier today, a comment on a video earlier, and I think a lot of people are starting to come into focus about 2024. If you do have SolarScope, take a look at June of 2024. I know our in-house researcher, actually he does his own thing. He has his own channel called The Starman. And David was the first one to bring this to my attention about how we are going to see a very rare alignment on the 24th, according to SolarScope, 2024, I should say, of June. So I'll be definitely interested to see what kind of weather and where we're at that point in time, because a lot of folks think things are going to get really hairy during that Milokovic cycle. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Big word for me, I guess. Anyway, so just a little brief touch base with that article. I wanted to quickly go to spaceweather.com. Like always, solar wind speeds, guys, we're at 290 kilometers per second with a density of 8.6. All right, 290 is very, very calm. The lowest I've seen it is 259, which was the summer of 2017. This is definitely, obviously, the lowest solar wind speed recorded so far in 2018. And there's your sunspot, 2693. I talked about our last hangout how, we didn't have any on the eastern limb, but they could pop up at any time. And here we go. We had one pop up across the middle of the disk. Actually, it was turning away from Earth when it was discovered on the 5th. It is sunspot number 11th, and it is quickly turning away from Earth. No threat for any kind of solar flares or anything like that. I don't know if you guys can see right here, but Jupiter, Mars, I announced this a couple days ago. This morning was the last morning to see Jupiter and Mars in the sky like this. So hopefully you guys got to see it. This was a cloudy view of it, not very good, but still able to see it through the hole in the sky. That was talk about opportunity. They took advantage of that as well. And the KP indices is at a 1, 24-hour max is a 2. And I thought this was interesting. The coronal holes here we have forming in the northern region, just above the equatorial region. And of course, right here, directly in the equatorial region, we have several smaller coronal holes. We do expect minor disturbances, but nothing major from these coronal holes. And just one last check at the weather here. So far well, let me get that out for you. Again, I'm missing my Mari here. So we zoom out, if I can get this to work. Here we go. Taking a look at the weather map here. Well, heck, maybe not. Gotta love live shows. So maybe we won't check the weather. I guess not. Boy, this is embarrassing. Okay, so I was going to show you how great this site is and how easy it is to use as I'm playing around with the computer and I can't get that to work right now. So anyway, folks, I apologize for that. Please, if you have time, go ahead and check out the forum, Grand Solar Minimum, gsm.thegrandsolarminimum.com. Check it out, see if there's anything you could add to it, or might be some articles that you could actually learn from. We are going to try to get out to Niagara Falls this weekend and get some footage of Niagara Falls. Lots of claims that it's frozen. It is not frozen all the way, folks, but there's a lot of ice out there, and we thought it'd be neat to share that with you guys as well. So hopefully we can get out there today. The weather was just not smart to head out into wind chills of negative 25 degrees standing next to the falls. So hopefully tomorrow is going to be a balmy 21 here in Western New York. We'll be able to check that out and get some footage for you guys. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk soon. All right, welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Saturday, January 6th. All right, welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Uh-oh. Today is Saturday, January 6th. All right. Grand Solar Minimum. Actually, it's gsm.thegrandsolarminimum.com, which is where you can find the forum, register, become a member. Actually, it's not really a member. You just have an account there. You sign in to post, private message, and we also have a chat room as well, which is something I haven't really gone over much. For those of you who want to get together and kind of collaborate and talk about the weather and all that good stuff. There's your login, all that good crap, and that's great. Okay, so on to the first story I wanted to cover tonight. This is old, actually. This came out January 1st, but I'm surprised nobody talked about this at all. And the what it is, this is Dr. Roy Spencer's website here, drroyspencer.com. As of 7 a.m. Eastern Time of January 1st, in the lower 48, our average temperature was 11 degrees for the nation. So keep that in mind. The entire United States average temperature for January.
Welcome to the Grand Solar Minimum Channel. Today is Saturday.
Bear with me, folks. I am having some technical difficulties. There we go. All right. So, anyway, now that we got that situated, how's everybody doing? It's January 6th, 2018. I want to start real quick with, again, if you haven't already checked it out, please check out the forum over at